This Beyond Clean Articles on the Go feature is titled A Need to Know Basis What We Wished Our Vendors Knew About Us, an SPD Expose. Written by Hank Balch, founder and president of Beyond Clean. This post will hopefully answer the question, what do sterile processing departments wish our vendors knew about us before they came a-knocking? The perfect answer is everything. The practical answer is at least the important things. So let's take a look at what those biggies might be. Our time is money. It should come as no surprise that SPD leaders value our time, and we'd really appreciate it if our vendors understood this and respected it. According to payscale.com, the median salary of a sterile processing manager in the U.S. is $68,227 per year, which means the typical 30-minute vendor meeting costs us about $16. It may not sound like a lot at first, but multiply that by repair vendors, instrument vendors, supply vendors, loaner reps, and contract service vendors, sprinkle in a vendor meeting or two a week, and we could spend $128 a month on you without even breaking a sweat. And that's just our labor costs. When you factor in the average cost per minute of an operating room at $100, our unplanned dialogue with your cold call could end up costing our facility hundreds of dollars if it delayed us from handling other, more pressing issues. The point here is that we want to be treated as busy professionals whose time is valuable and whose primary responsibility is always patient care first, with everything else being secondary. Your emails, voicemails, drop-ins, catalog mailings, etc. all have a time cost associated with them, so it's our prerogative to prioritize them as we see fit. There's only so much to go around. Speaking of money, seriously y'all, there's only so much to go around. And it'd be nice if you had an idea of how much we're comfortable with spending in whatever category it is that you're selling, i.e., I only want to spend X dollars per month on container conversion, or we've only budgeted for X dollars a year for laparoscopic upgrades. How do you find out this diamond of departmental information? You could always try asking us. Most eager vendors know what the facility cap is for operational versus capital requests, but the great vendors have their finger on the pulse of the departmental budget and are willing to sell along with the leader's particular comfort level. You'll only get this kind of information once you've built the trust of the leaders, but once you know it, you can keep from being that sales guy who is wasting his time on products we'll never buy or won't be buying until the next fiscal year. We weren't born yesterday. Besides time and money, we wish vendors realized we weren't born yesterday. Most of us can tell when you're blowing sunshine into random places and feeding us a line of malarkey. If we don't realize it in the moment, it usually hits us during the next conversation we have with Dr. Jones when he informs us that he didn't actually say that he wanted that particular needle holder you convinced us to order. Most of us in leadership have been around for a while, so keep that in mind when you make decisions about the angle you use during your visit. Telling us this kerosene rongeur is bead blasted so it will stay sharper longer may work on supply chain folks, no offense my supply chain friends, but it's only going to make SPD leaders think you don't know what you're talking about. The same is true for implying that because something is on contract means the same thing as it being sole source or best pricing. Save the bull for poker night. Related to this, however, is the fact that SPD leaders don't know everything. There, I admitted it. Because of this, we do desire and benefit from the kind of industry knowledge and best practice exposure that vendors have by the mere fact of being out in the world as you are. The more consultative you are in your particular area of expertise, the more likely we are to trust you, invite you to educate our teams, and ultimately buy into your product offerings. The more often you act like a resource, the more likely we are to treat you like one. Ideas and products have consequences. I'll close this article out with a big, I wish my vendors knew this item. Every product or service we purchase has to be justified in some way. Whether it's just a justification to ourselves for why we preferred widget A over widget B, or a budget justification to the CFO of why this is a wise financial decision for the organization, we wish vendors knew that we appreciate real, hard data on their products. We all want the highest of quality for our patients. On that, everyone agrees. But just telling our CFO or VP that these lumen brushes are better than the more affordable alternatives is going to go over like a lead balloon. If you want to sell us your goods, lay a firm foundation by helping us make the case for your product in our facility. Offer to do a cost analysis for us on how much money we'd save converting from disposable wrap to rigid containers. Help us do a usage study on our nylon lumen brushes and give us a comparison on competitive products. Every product you want to bring into our facility will have cost, quality, workflow, and other consequences associated with it. The more of these consequences that you know coming into it and are able to convince us that they are a net good, the happier you'll be as you're walking out our doors. I admit, no vendor is going to do all these things perfectly, but the closer you get to mastering these points, the more likely you are to get a warm welcome rather than a cold shoulder when you show up at our department's doorstep. And now you know.